Thank you, Claire. It's fun to be back at my favorite racetrack. And I will say that the practice and qualifying session was less dynamic than I thought it was going to be. So like changes from the old car, the shifting and all that stuff, I felt like I adapted to all that stuff fairly quickly. But the track's still, like I said, my favorite. So that made it a lot easier.
What was it about this opportunity that was so intriguing?
It's easier to dance with a girl that knows how to dance.
What was it about this opportunity that was so intriguing that prompted you to come back?
Just the opportunity, really. I mean, ultimately, I'm week on, week off with my kids, and just the way the schedule worked out. My daughter's not racing. Obviously, there was a change in driver lineup with the 51 car, and gave me the opportunity to come and do this. And I literally started this conversation, I think, prior to Martinsville. And it was by accident when I texted Tommy Baldwin to ask him about an opportunity to race a modified. And he asked me if I wanted to go to Martinsville, and I said, well, in a modified? He goes, no, in a Cup car. And it all worked out for us to put all this together and do this. So thanks to Jacob Companies and Biohaven and Rick Ware Racing to give us the opportunity to come, I say play, but ultimately I feel like we got a pretty competitive car that you know, we just got to execute and see if we can move up from where we start.
How many races are you going to be doing? Do you know which races?
One at a time.
What are your impressions of this car?
You know, it drives pretty good. I mean, it's totally different with the steering and transmission, you know, shifting and all that stuff. I mean, it's the first time I've ever shifted here at Darlington, so at least in a competitive lap. So the steering was probably the biggest change. The second biggest change was the way you drive the car and the fact that you don't really, or you can't afford to get it sideways. And you know, I did a couple times just crossing seams and things like that, but felt like we had a good practice session and wanted to just get some laps under my belt, take some time, and really kind of impressed myself, I would say, in my qualifying lap to pick up a second from what we practiced, and know that we're still not, you know, top 10 on the speed charts, but ultimately it was a good competitive lap.
What does a successful Sunday look like?
I'll let you know on Monday. No, I mean, realistically, I feel like today's been successful, and I feel like if we can just kind of progress from where we are today and our competitive level, then so Sunday will, I mean, hopefully take care of itself. I don't come here and expecting to win or lead the most laps or anything like that. I'm realistic in those thoughts, but ultimately, if we have the opportunity to just keep moving forward in the field and, you know, have good execution.
You spoke in November 2021 about the next-gen car and your concerns kind of about the safety aspects of it. Do you still feel that way? Do you feel more comfortable with it? Where are you at on that?
Well, I wouldn't be here if I didn't feel like I was putting myself at a significant risk. I mean, we're always at some kind of risk, but ultimately, I think you know, based off the last, whatever that is, 14, 18 months, proved myself right with some of the injuries and situations that we've had and talked about in the Cup Garage. And you know, ultimately, I know NASCAR's doing their job to make the cars better, as they always have. And this has been an entirely new piece that I think has surprised them in some of the aspects that they thought weren't going to be an issue. So ultimately, you know, I'm here because I feel comfortable, and if we do something else, it'll be at a comfortable place.
What's in your heart about being back? I joke about, yeah, we missed you. It is great to have you back. But what's in your heart about racing again? What does it do for you, and how excited are you?
So I've paid attention to everything in respect to the cars, the development, drivers' comments, safety, you know, roll bars and, you know, crashes and data and things like that. I mean, I've been in tune, so it's not like I've just been out on the farm and you know, making hay, but ultimately I feel like that you know, it's fun to be back, and it's fun to have the opportunity, and I look forward to tomorrow.
It seems like this place specifically kind of lends itself to driver ability, and that really helping. You know, so what is it? Does it give you more confidence in a car that maybe isn't as good week to week with your ability and your experience here? Well,
it's definitely nice to have the driver be more part of the equation, as long as you feel like you're a good driver. If you feel like you've got a good car and you know, Daytona, Talladega, Atlanta, whatever you want to call it, then, you know, that's more about the car. But you know, I feel like we have a great combination to work towards progress, and that's where we're starting here. I mean, today is a starting point. I don't know where the ending point is, but we'll take it one step at a time.
You want to do more?
I told him when I did it, I said the only way I'm going to do this and continue to do this is if it's fun, and today was fun. So we'll see.
Ryan, you said this one came about by accident, but over the last couple of years, since you were last in a car, have you thought about still wanting to be a Cup driver before this opportunity
I always
came?
said if the opportunity came and it was right, then I would do that. And obviously the Hendrick lineup and the Gibbs lineup and the Penske lineup and whatnot are fairly full and packed, and I don't see any changes there. And you know, this is an opportunity, especially with this car that's, you know, equalized or somewhat equalized the field in the competition. So you know, when you tell the guys that they have to put this nut, this washer, this bolt, this whatever, and have all these tolerances, then you're taking a lot of the team characterization out of performance, right? I mean, obviously when I left, Gibbs was stout. You know, there was Hendrick was stout. I mean, there was obvious advantages per chassis that got grandfathered in, per, you know, who had the best nose and things like that. So I think it's a good opportunity for me to sample where the series is right now.
I heard about your daughter racing. You mentioned it now, but I heard she's pretty good. So how old is she, and like, how good is she, and is she serious about it?
She is 12 years old. She's racing outlaw karts, and I feel like she's very good, very competitive. She's won some heat races, won some B mains, was leading coming to the checkered and got taken out. So she's knocking on the door with both hands, and I feel like you know, she loves it. There's no doubt, and I don't think she loves it just because her daddy loves it or she knows that her daddy loves her doing it. But I think she ultimately loves it, and she's very competitive, and she's a pistol like me. So and typically hard to pass. So you know, I think that I don't know where all that stuff goes, but that's my primary focus, and that's, like I said, that's part of what made this easier to do. I mean, like, if she had a race today, I wouldn't be here.
What's her name again?
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn,
Yeah.
Right.
You said you've stayed in tune with what happened over the past year or so since you've been out of the car. Has NASCAR made the right changes with the rear clip?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think that there is necessarily a right change. There's a right direction, no doubt, but there's no answer to evolution, right? It's just things keep evolving, and I feel like that there are things that need to be continually adjusted because the starting point was so far off.
When that was an issue last year, did you ever reach out to NASCAR with your engineering background, or no?
I've had some. Actually, I will say, and I'm not trying to single anybody out because I know he's got a lot of responsibilities, but I have tried to have several conversations with Jeff Burton about it, because he's been kind of the spokesperson / mayor for that side of it. And I've talked to other drivers who have commended him, but I know that my point is, I know that there was more things to tackle than just one person could handle. And you know, looking back at like Larson's crash at Talladega and whatnot, I mean, there's obviously some adjustments that need to be made, significant adjustments, and they will happen. Unfortunately, Larson wasn't injured, and Priest wasn't injured, but you know, we've got to be open-minded as we make some significant changes, just like this car has been, to make sure that the safety is not compromised.